help it to produce thought. And this thought often seems to come into our mind from somewhere else, from abroad. The capacity to think, belonging to the organs, spiritual or material, whose province is to produce thought, this may exist without being exercised. The divine will moves to action. The intellectual energy is itself the intellectual energy, which excites and arouses the capacity to think, or the organs that produce thought. It is curious that as Kether and Chokmah are male and Binah are female, those are the three spheres, that upper triangle in the tree of life that I just showed you. These are the three spheres he's talking about, that upward pointing triangle. As Kether and Chokmah are male, Binah is female, so in the Aryan tongue, from the word man means to think. Isn't that interesting? We get the word manus, which is a neutral, meaning mind or intellect. Manasha means thinking or thought. The feminine mati, which is man plus ti, manti, manti, means thought, or the product of thought, which is also the feminine. In the original trinity of 3 in 1, fire, light, and heat, each personification is male. Agni, Indra, Vishnu. But the Ushas, the dawn, is female, while Mitra, the morning star, is male again. Isn't that interesting? In the Zarathustran Creed, the divine wisdom, unmanifested, spent among you the white, pure, light, beneficent mind, the holy mind, was considered to be male, and male also when uttered manifest as the human intellect, bohu mono. This wisdom uttered became the logos, or the word, or utterance of Plato and Philo, the creative agent, the firstborn or first begotten son of the Father of all. This logos, this word, is in us. With every thought we perceive, it is the logos acting in us. The heavenly, the divine, comes through us. Something to think about, isn't it? We know something for certain in Freemasonry. As De Hoyle says on page 865 of the Scottish Rite Ritual Monitoring Guide, what we do certainly know is that we are in possession of the ancient symbols of the Creed of Zarathustra, the Magi, and Pythagoras, and that we know what these symbols meant to them. What they mean to us is based upon our own skill, our own will, our own desire, and our own efforts to incorporate the celestial meanings of the symbols into our hearts and into our minds and into our lives, so that we can live more abundantly, so that we can live more charitably, and so that we can fulfill our destinies of spreading light and goodness throughout the world. We know Plato, Pythagoras, Zarathustra, we know the ancients knew that the soul was immortal because we are a part of that immortality. our souls are a part of the tissue of immortality. And therefore, so are we also immortal. The symbolisms, whether they are words, whether they are numbers, whether they are figurate geometric shapes, the symbolisms point to the immortality of man. They point to the light, which the sun is a beautiful celestial symbol, as is the water the earthly symbol of the movement of the Spirit, as is the air. Though we cannot see it, we can feel it, we can smell it, we can breathe it, we know it's there, just as surely as we know our souls are immortal. This is the power, this is the fascination, this is the thrill, the intellectual challenge, as it were, the spiritual fulfillment, the psychological improvement of our lives. May we all step in the light and live in the light. Now there's another Hermetic symbol that Pike discussed in his Esoterica, the symbol of the Blue Lodges. On page 222, this is from one of the German philosophers. Plate number 6 it's labeled plate number 6. The reverse triangle has at the top, in its two angles, the word, the anima or soul, and with the sun under it. And the other corner has spiritus, with the moon under it. And at the foot of the triangle, he says the third angle is the word corpus, which means body, of course, having under it a cube, though it's not accurate in shape, with two stars on either side of it, and another star below the cube, which these representing the Earth and the 5 planets. We also have in this plate the 7-pointed star, the king with the arrayed head holding a scepter and shield and seated on a lion. The queen wearing the crescent on her head, seated on a dolphin, the two being the spirit and the soul, or the breath of life. The equilateral triangle representing the 3-in-1, and the face in the center representing the Father, the Ancient of Days, and the man raising from the grave. This is a basis of Freemasonic symbolism, according to Albert Pike, and I want to show you this figure, if I can. It's a very interesting figure. You can see the downward pointing triangle. The equilateral triangle is behind the circle, and in each one of the corners are the figures he was talking about, the 7-pointed star. You can see that central face within the circle, within the 7-pointed star, and down here is the woman on the dolphin, and over here is the man being raised from the dead. So that's a very interesting symbolism associated with the triangle and some of the meanings of that triangle. Pike also noted another very interesting triangular symbolism. This is from Clavis X of De Lapide Sapentium of Basilius Valentinus. This is in the Museum Hermeticum. He says, here is an equilateral triangle with a square, 3 and 4, symbolizing the number 3 and 4, enclosing 2 concentric circles, having in its upper right triangle the astronomical figure of the sun, and its left upper triangle that of the moon, and in the other triangle, the other corner of the triangle, that of Mercury. This apex of the triangle points downward. And then there are various words which mean I was born from Hermogenes, Hyperion elected me, and without Ein Sof, I must necessarily die.